Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome devotees to our morning Bhagavatam class. This morning we will be discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 10, verse 29. And the chapter is entitled The Departure of Lord Krishna from Dwarka. And we are happy to have His Holiness Candramauli Swami with us. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to you and all glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you very much. My obeisances to you and to all the devotees. Panchakalpatarubhas Chakri Prasiddhave Vajapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha. Okay, Srimad Bhagavatam 110:29. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yavirya Sukhena Ritas Vayambare. Amakta Chaidya Amukam Hi Susminaha. Adyumna Sambamba Sutadayo Para. Yascharitam Bauma Vade Sahasrasaha. Translation. The children of these ladies are Pradyumna, Samba, Hamba, etc. Ladies like Rukmini, Satyabhama, and Jambavani were forcibly taken away by him from their Swayamvara ceremonies after he defeated many powerful kings, headed by Shishupal. And other ladies were also forcibly taken away by him after he killed Bhaumasura and thousands of his assistants. All these ladies are glorious. The powerful kings were allowed to make a choice of their own bridegroom in open competition. And such ceremonies were called Swayamvara, or selection of the bridegroom. Because the Swayamvara was an open competition between the rival and the valiant princes. Those princes were invited by the father of the princess, and usually there was regular fights between the invited princely order and its thwarting spirit. But it so happened that sometimes the belligerent princes were killed in such marriage fighting, and the victorious prince was offered the trophy princess, for whom so many princes died. Rukmini, the principal queen of Lord Krishna, was the daughter of the king of Vidarbha, who wished that his qualified and beautiful daughter be given away to Lord Krishna. But her eldest brother wanted her to be given away to King Shishupal, who happened to be a cousin of Krishna. There was open competition as usual. Lord Krishna emerged successful after harassing Shishupal and other princes by his unrivaled prowess. Rukmini had 10 sons like Pradyumna, and the other queens also taken away by Lord Krishna in a similar way. Full description of this beautiful booty of Lord Krishna will be given in the 10th canto. There were 16,100 beautiful girls who were daughters of many kings and were forcibly stolen by Bhaumasura, who kept them captive to his carnal desires. These girls prayed piteously to Lord Krishna for their deliverance, and the merciful Lord, called by their fervent prayer, released them, all by fighting with King, killing Bhaumasura. All these captive princesses were then accepted by the Lord as his wives, although in the estimation of society they were all fallen girls. The all-powerful Lord Krishna accepted the humble prayers of these girls and married them with the adoration of the queens. So altogether, Lord Krishna had 16,108 queens at work, and each of them begot 10 children. All these children grew up, and each had as many children as the father. The aggregate of the family members numbered in the millions. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutavaram Swayam Rupa Kadambayam Dadati Swam Padatikam. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvana Prachari Nindavasesa Sinyurari Pasyat Yade Sutayani Panchakalpaturu Bhascha Kipa Sindhuve Bhacha Hitanam Parvanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. In Kshatriya Dharma, there are various ways one secures a wife. Well, in this case, where one qualified princess becomes the form of competition over which many powerful princesses fight over. And this is these are different ways by which they secure their queens. One of them is kidnapping. Sri Krishna did that with Rukmini. He could kidnap Rukmini. And all these other kings became angry and they tried to fight with him. Krishna brought his army with him, headed by Lord Balaram, and they defeated all of these princesses. And Krishna stole the beautiful Rukmini, and later, of course, married her. Her elder brother, as mentioned here, Rukmi, wanted her to marry Shishupal, but her father and her, and of course, she had sent a letter to Krishna that this is the situation, please come and kidnap me. And so Krishna did. There was a great fight, and you can read about it in the 10th canto. Now Krishna, Balaram brought the Yadu army with him, and they fought all these powerful princesses. And Krishna took away Rukmini, who was their principal queen in Dwarka. Krishna had 16,108 queens, and she was the principal queen. Her name is also known as Vidarbhi. Her name is Rukmini Vidarbhi, because she was the daughter of King Vidarbha. So this is how this sporting, in order to fight for the prize was a beautiful, highly qualified, and very chaste princesses, and they would fight in different ways. Just for the sake of that, you see sometimes there will be a fight between two princesses, not princesses, but prince, the male gender, and one will kill the other, in order to win the daughter of the king, and now he becomes his wife. So sometimes you see that ladies, they wear that red little dot on their forehead. Yeah. Well, the history of that dot is that the winning prince would dip his finger into the blood of the killed prince, and put that blood on the head of his wife, his future wife. Yeah. So that's quite romantic for those of you who like all these things. So yes, this is how it goes. When I told that to one couple, the lady in a very nonchalant way said, "Oh, that is very romantic." She said it in a facetious way. She wasn't really glorifying it. But yeah, so this is what goes on in Kshatriya Dharma, and Krishna took part in it. And so he married 8 principal queens, and many of them he had a fight for. Chambavati, and we also hear about Satyabhama, Jambavati, and Rukmini, and there was others that Krishna had to battle in order to achieve, and he. So Krishna is very compassionate. So when these girls, they want to marry him, and then Krishna feels compassion towards them. And if they are qualified, they get the opportunity to have the Supreme Personality of Godhead as their duly beloved husband. And of course, these queens are not ordinary personalities. In fact, the queens of Dwarka were actually the gopis of Vrindavan. But when Krishna left Vrindavan and then had to leave to go to Mathura, he killed Kamsa and reestablished Ugrasena on the throne. And then he had to stay there and fight against so many other powerful kings who were inimical to Krishna or who was friends with Kamsa. And so many of these personalities, such as Pondraka and especially Jarasandha. When Kamsa was killed, Jarasandha became really angry at Krishna because Jarasandha had given his 2 daughters, Prashuti and one more, I can't remember her other name. 2 daughters of Jarasandha were given to Kamsa as his truly beloved wives. And so when Krishna killed Kamsa, these 2 girls had no husband, so they returned to their father, Jarasandha. Jarasandha was angry because of that. So yeah, he had a vengeance against Krishna. And there was many other stories where Krishna killed so many of these powerful kings who were burdening the earth. And one after another, there was Shishupal, there was Dantravarka, there was Pondraka, and a host of other powerful kings. If you read the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, you see as the age of Kali comes into full force, many of these kings who were at the beginning of the age of Kali were descendants of these other kings who were licentious. Therefore, many millenniums before that, Parasuram killed many of these kings and killed 21 generations of these kings because they weren't qualified to be leaders. They were proud of their position when they were exploiting the citizens. So therefore Krishna paritras nayam sarunam vinasanaya chaduskridam. Dharma samstarpanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Paritranayam sarunam vinasanaya chaduskritam. The duskritas, or the belligerent kings who were not qualified to rule, Krishna came in order to rid the world of that and to reestablish saintly rule. So he's done that, and he will do that each time the world becomes overburdened with. It's like today we have an overburden of very unqualified rulers who are simply exploiting the citizens and squeezing them for everything they can get from the citizens. So Krishna also has come in the form of his holy name, and by spreading the glories of the holy name, the whole atmosphere will change, and all of these powerful and very despotic rulers will be destroyed and eliminated by the power of the Sankirtan movement. But Krishna has put himself in the hands of his devotees to spread Harinam Sankirtan, which will destroy the effects of Kali Yuga, especially these licentious and very criminal type persons who have taken the positions of rulers in today's society. Just like it was, if you read Bhagavatam, you start to think, all of these things happened so long ago when Krishna was present, but the same situation is there today. It's no different. Bhagavatam is showing us how that there is this constant struggle between the Suras and the Asuras. The Asuras are only trying to take power and position and to exploit the resources of earth for their own selfish interests, and squeeze the citizens for as much as they can get. This is the way of the demoniac rule. And the same thing is happening today, except the demons are a little bit more sophisticated in terms of they don't have these powerful weapons, nor do they have mystic power. Some of them do have mystic power, but most of them, they walk around in suit and ties, and they just make legislation to destroy everyone, to cripple the whole society, and to exploit the resources of the earth as much as possible. And Krishna speaks about that in the Bhagavad Gita. The demons, they say, so much wealth I have today and so much more will be mine in the future. He is my enemy and I have killed him, and my other enemy will also be killed. I am perfectly powerful and happy. I'm surrounded by aristocratic relatives. I shall rejoice and I shall give in charity. Now, this is the nature of the demons. Krishna parrots their mentality. He speaks about that in the Bhagavad Gita, the 16th chapter, where he describes the nature of the demoniac. And if you simply read the Bhagavatam, you can see how everything is happening in the same way today with the present society. But Krishna is here in the form of his holy name, in the form of his deity, in the form of his devotees, in the form of the Sankirtan movement, to push back the effects of Kali Yuga. So here you find Krishna. He's a Kshatriya. He was born as a Vaishya. Krishna was born in Vrindavan. He was the son of Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yasoda, who were Vaishyas. So Krishna grew up as a cowherd boy, but then in his role as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mission was to rid the world of demoniac forces. And so he did that one by one. And the residents of Vrindavan were always missing Krishna. They were always sending messages. In fact, when Krishna was away for so long, all of these gopis, there's one beautiful story. It's in the Venu Gita, where they entered into the Jamuna River, and they apparently gave up their life and became born as queens in Dwarka. So the same gopis of Vrindavan became the queens of Dwarka. Satyabhama is actually Srimati Radharani, come again. Rukmini is Candramauli, come again. And many of the prominent gopis were different queens that Krishna married in Dwarka. And so, feeling separation from Krishna, they actually assumed these queen-like forms in order to associate with Krishna. Although the mood was different, still they had the association of Krishna. Of course, Radharani was never happy in that mood, and she always encouraged Krishna to return to Vrindavan, because Krishna in Vrindavan is the sweetest manifestation of Krishna, and there his pastimes are on the highest form of transcendental love and sweetness. It's called Madhurya. Madhurya really means sweetness. And so Krishna had a lot of work to do. And then after he eliminated, and then there was Kashivara, and there was so many other powerful persons, one after another. Demons were coming, and Krishna was eliminating one after another. Finally, when the entire burden of all the demon kings were killed, still the burden of the earth was not relieved. So Krishna had saw that his dynasty, the Yadu dynasty, had become so powerful under his rule that they now became the new burden of the earth. And as it mentions here, he had millions of family members. Some of them were demigods, and some of them were his direct family members. There were tens and millions of these Yadus who now were in power because Krishna had destroyed all of these demons. And now the Yadus became the burden on the earth, and Krishna had arranged for the Yadus to be eliminated. And that's a beautiful story that's mentioned at the very end of the 11th canto in Srimad Bhagavatam. It's also mentioned in the very first chapter of the 11th canto in Srimad Bhagavatam. How Krishna arranged for all of the Yadus to go to Prabhash Kshetra, drink some alcoholic beverage that was made out of wine, which was made out of rice, which was very sweet. And then after their intoxication, they started to fight amongst each other. And it's described in detail how these Yadus who were fighting side by side were now fighting against each other. But this was Krishna's plan. Krishna arranged this in order for this was his disappearance Leela. He was arranging first for his family members to leave the world, and then he eventually left the world. And so there was a big fight, and then even they were attacking Krishna and Balaram. And Krishna and Balaram also finished up all of the Yadus. So this is a very mysterious and very illusionary Leela, because it was all orchestrated by Krishna himself. And when you read it, you'll get the insight, because the explanations of what is actually happening is completely different than what is actually happening. Krishna arranged everything so his dynasty of which were millions and millions of powerful warriors, were all eliminated, and they all returned back to the spiritual world or into the realms of the demigods. They came from both places. And then then Balaram, right after that, he sat down in meditation and meditated on himself. And then he and in the meditation upon himself, he disappeared from the world. When Krishna saw that, then he realized it was time for him to leave. So he sat down under a Pipalaya tree and started to sit there, and he sat in a cross-legged position. One hunter came along and he saw Krishna there, but he mistook Krishna for a deer, and he saw the foot of Krishna as being the face of a deer. So he shot an arrow that apparently hit the foot of Krishna. The acharyas say the arrow did not penetrate Krishna's foot, because Krishna's body is transcendental, it's spiritual, cannot be pierced by anything material. When this hunter, whose name was Jara, realized what he did, he fell at the feet of the Lord and started to pray for forgiveness, and was so much in distress that he said to the Lord, actually, I committed a great offense. Please, you should eliminate my life as my punishment. And Krishna was simply smiling because Krishna had arranged that also. And he told to the hunter, you haven't done anything wrong. This is all my arrangement. And therefore, Krishna called for an airplane that came from the spiritual world and took Jara back to the spiritual world. There was this ordinary hunter. Because he became part of Krishna's Leela in helping Krishna enact his pastimes of disappearing in the world, he got the benefit of going back home, back to Godhead. And then just before Krishna left the world, Krishna's chariot driver, Daruka, came on the scene looking for Krishna. He saw Krishna in separation from Krishna, and he fell at the feet of Krishna. And Krishna told him that I am now leaving the world. So Krishna showed his mystic power by taking the chariot and sending the chariot and the horses back to the spiritual world, right in front of the eyes of Daruka. Daruka was overwhelmed with anguish, knowing that Krishna would leave the world. But Krishna told him, you go back to Dwarka and you tell all the residents of what had happened, that I'm now leaving the world and the Yadu dynasty is finished. So this particular Leela of Krishna leaving the world is the most mysterious of all of his Leelas. It cannot be understood simply by hearing the actual pastimes. It can only be understood to some degree by the explanations of the acharyas. And for Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati and Chaitanya Bhagavat explains this Krishna's disappearance from the world in 20 pages of a purport in one of the verses. But in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it gives a more succinct, more direct explanation of how Krishna, like a dramatic actor, orchestrated this whole disappearance of this powerful Yadu dynasty. And it says here there were millions, because Krishna had 16,108 queens. Each one of those queens had 10 sons and one daughter. And each one of those 10 sons had 10 sons. So they were so numerous, and now they had become the powerful force on the earth. And Krishna knew that if he left that force on the earth, there would be another burden on the earth. So he arranged for this very mystical and very apparent violent destruction of his own family. And it's a very interesting pastime. You should read it. And it's the last two chapters in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. I just finished reading it a couple of days ago. And it's full of interesting, you'll see how Krishna, and what we can understand for that is behind everything that happens in this world is the hand of the Lord. We go about our activities, and we're doing, and things are happening or not happening. But actually behind the scenes of everything, it's Krishna's energy that's making everything happen or not happen in a certain way. Krishna's will is supreme. And therefore, his will, which Parasya Shakti Virahaya Suyate Swabhaviti Jnana Balakriya Cha, this verse from the Svetasvatara Upanishads explains that once Krishna wants something to happen, he simply thinks about it. And as soon as he thinks, his energies immediately jump into action and make his will complete. In other words, everything happens simply by his desire. He doesn't even do anything. He's completely powerful. So this is Krishna. So both the material and the spiritual work under his direction. In the spiritual, he's directly involved. In the material, he does it through his various energies. So when we understand that, there's only one thing to do, to surrender to Krishna. There's no other choice, because there's no question of being independent. Independent means you're under the influence either of the material energy, which is full of difficulties and miseries, or you're underneath the energy of the Daivi Prakriti, the spiritual energy which elevates your consciousness to the spiritual world. So you have a choice. Nobody's independent. So therefore, Krishna says, just surrender to me, and everything will be wonderful. Everything will be okay. It's all based on surrender to Krishna. And surrender is easy. Surrender, all you have to do is be willing to follow the instructions of Krishna and make those instructions your foremost activity in life, and then your life becomes successful. Okay, so there's a lot to this particular purport here. We get an insight of Krishna and how he deals with marriages.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Really amazing class. I'm going to open up the questions to ask the devotees, although I have one definitely sitting in my head, but I want to ask the devotees first and give them the opportunity to ask questions. If there are any questions from devotees, any clarification, please. I'm going to stop sharing this so that we can view each other. And I also request devotees, please do show your videos, please, so that we can see each other and have each other's association, different part of the world. I think it's a very, very nice technology that we can use in Krishna service. So please do turn on your videos. Maharaj, I would like to ask a question, Maharaj, and it really surprised me when you said, when you mentioned in class that the gopis drowned themselves in the Yamuna River, and they took birth, or they came in as the different queens in Dwarka. And I also heard another pastime, Maharaj, and that's why I was kind of confused. If you can please clarify this rascal mind of mine. There was a pastime where the queens of Dwarka wanted to meet the gopis. So were they two different pastimes, Maharaj? Or I'm trying to kind of put those pastimes together. Or the one of the queens wanting to meet the gopis, and then the gopis, as you mentioned, jumping the Yamuna and then coming back as, Rukmini and Satyabhama and all that.
All the female consorts of Krishna are expansions of the gopis. That's mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Radharani expands into all of the gopis, and all of the gopis expand into different female manifestations. The Lakshmis of Vaikuntha and the queens of Dwarka are expansions of ultimately the gopis. Gopis are the original expansions of Krishna and the female consorts. So in one sense, they're non-different. In another sense, they're different. But you'll see that these same personalities can be manifested in different forms and still be the same personality. So when Krishna came when the gopis came to Kurukshetra to see Krishna, Krishna was a king there. And he was surrounded by military. And he was living in Dwarka with his 16,108 queens. But that's mentioned in Venu Gita. You can read about it, and how the gopis actually became the queens of Dwarka in order to associate with. Now, you might also say that it's not the exact manifestation there, in the sense that there is a mixture of Aishwarya and Madhurya in the queens of Dwarka, where there's only Madhurya in the gopis. So they're more like expansions of the gopis, which have manifested in the form of these queens. The different personalities, but at the same time, they're the same personality. It's the Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva principle. simultaneously one and different. So Satyabhama, for example, she is Radharani, but she also has a different mood when she's in Dwarka. She is also Radharani, but she also keeps her similar mood of Radharani when she's in Dwarka as Satyabhama, where she doesn't necessarily always agree with Krishna. And she has a contrary nature also with Krishna. But Rukmini was Candramauli, and she is coming from the group of gopis who are very submissive and obedient to Krishna. You'll see that in Rukmini, and you'll see Satyabhama is a different nature. So they're different, they're the same personalities, but also different at the same time. So that's why the queens could meet the gopis also.
Maharaj, do you, when you mentioned Venugita, I remember having that book on my bookshelf. I got it many years ago when I was managing the gift shop in Gitanagari. Maharaj, do you, so it's in, I think there are 3 books by Shivaram Swami, and the first one is the Venugita, right, Maharaj? That's the,
Yeah.
okay, I do have that. I will look it up today. I'm so curious to know that pastime.
I can't remember the names of the whole series. There's 6 books into it now.
Oh, okay.
Chintamani is one of them. Venugita, Napareham.
Yes, one of it is Naparayaham. Yes, I think I have that one too. Yeah, I will definitely look into that today, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Thank you. Any other questions from devotees? Whether it's related to this topic in this lecture or any other topic, please do raise your hand and ask a question. This is the time to get our questions answered, thoughts clarified, anything interesting. Please, let's get something rolling here. Trying to go down the list so that I don't miss anybody. Krishna, oh, the other book is Krishna, what did she say? Krishna
Sangita.
Sangita. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. Yes, Mataji, please go ahead with your question.
Anahita, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Your glories to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. I have a question regarding Radharani and Krishna's relationship. Because when I remember the first time finding out that actually they weren't married, and I was really shocked because obviously you always see Radha and Krishna together, and I don't know, I wanted to know a bit more about that and understand, like, why is that? And like, because I know that sometimes people say that you're not meant to read some of the pastimes because you won't understand it and you won't understand the love that he has for her. And because I know that actually it's like they have, it's I don't know if the right word is like, but an affair sort of thing, but they're not together. I just wanted to get clarification on their relationship, why that is.
Well, it's not an absolute thing, because if you read Jiva Goswami's Gopal Champa, at the end of the Chikkan Gopal Champa, his marriage ceremony between Krishna and Radharani, they do get married.
They do? Oh, okay.
The gopis cannot be married to anybody else but Krishna. The husbands that play the role of their husbands in these leelas are simply there to enhance the excitement of the lawless love, which is Parakiya Ras. So in boy relationship, for Parakiya Ras and Swakiya Ras, one is marriage and one is unmarried, Um, the gopis have the mood of Parikiras. They all have their husbands, but they all want to be with Krishna. But then again, if you study this deeper, you'll find the explanations of the Charyas go deeper. The gopis cannot be married to anybody else but Krishna. Not possible. They belong exclusively to Krishna.
Interesting. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, that makes so much more sense. Thank you. And I just want to add as well, I started reading, I think it's your association, your magic association, because I started reading the Srimad Bhagavatam again last night, trying to get back into routine of doing it. So yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, you'll be very happy.
Thank you.
Thank you for that nice question, Mataji. Thank you. I thought I saw someone's hand up and it went down and I lost track who it was. I don't know who. Was it Sukavaha Mataji or somebody? I'm trying to figure out who raised the hand and somehow it went down and I don't know who I missed. I apologize if I missed your hand. It just went on pretty fast.
Hare
Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances, Guru Maharaj. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all glories to your lotus feet. It wasn't me, Mataji, this time, definitely.
Oh, I'm sorry. Somehow
No, it's all right. It's okay.
it went up and down.
My question was answered anyways.
Okay.
And now Mataji asked the question. So thank you for that. I got my answer. Hare
Perfect.
Krishna.
Great. Great. Thank you. Any other questions from devotees? Any thoughts coming to your mind? Yes, Prabhu. Go ahead, Prabhu.
Thank you. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you, Maharaj, all glories to all of the Vaishnavas. Maharaj, can you tell me, please, when we're reading these pastimes of Krishna and very incredibly elaborate pastimes and pleasurable pastimes of Krishna and his family members, etc., it's very different to reading the philosophy. So can you tell me what is the true purpose behind reading these, and what should our mood be when we're reading these pastimes?
When you're referring these pastimes, you mean Krishna and Vrindavan?
Yes.
Well, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has opened up the secret door of Krishna's intimate life. These things have never been available in all of the 999 yugas. Only when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes that he reveals Vrindavan. And in that, he's showing us the highest form of worship. He's also showing us that we can also qualify to return to Vrindavan also by following in the footsteps of the residents of Vrindavan. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Radharani, and he's Krishna. He's 100% Krishna, but he's got Radharani's bhav, or her mood. So he's teaching the mood of Vrindavan by his activities and by the Sankirtan movement. So it is a process of purifying the consciousness, but at the same time, hearing and chanting, especially hearing these pastimes from the scriptures and from the words of the great souls who are in that mood of Sri Vrindavan Dham. Our understanding is that it's not like any boy-girl relationship in this world. The example is given just like there are different types of metals. There's gold and there's iron. Gold is rare and valuable. Iron is very easily available and not very valuable. So the activities of the conditioned souls in the material world sometimes look similar to the activities of Krishna and Vrindavan, but there's a world of difference. And therefore, one has to hear these in the association of people who are qualified to speak these activities. Therefore, generally, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada didn't so much speak about these activities in public because people could not understand. But in the books, it's there. So therefore, when you read the books, you have to read the tattvas or the philosophy that centers around this in order to understand a little bit more clearer what is actually the essence of these activities. In the spiritual world, no one is acting for their own personal interests. Everyone is acting for the interests of others. In the spiritual world, everything is done in pure love. In the material world, that same love, which is apparently seen in this world as boy-girl relationship, is based on lust. Lust means to satisfy my own senses and at the expense of someone else. And that is the lusty desires that go on, and that's the material world. So we should hear these pastimes from the scriptures written by the great souls in these books like that. And at the same time, don't superimpose your own ideas upon them. Now, Prabhupada says, if you hear in the right mood, you will become purified from all desires to enjoy sensually in this material world. You'll become free from sex desire. If you hear submissively with a desire to glorify the Lord at the same time. But if you are hearing these pastimes and your lusty desires are being aroused by hearing them, then you're not qualified to hear them. That's where Prabhupada would immediately say, stop it immediately. You can't go any further because your consciousness is not proper. Therefore, you'll simply misunderstand and you'll become polluted rather than becoming purified. So one cannot understand these. One has to hear follow the footsteps. So, but they don't usually speak about these things in public so often. In fact, Lord Chaitanya didn't do that at all. And Prabhupada avoided that also, although he spoke a little bit about it, just to give a little indication. But it's in the books. It's in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's in the works of Rupa Goswami and the other acharyas. But it's all centered around the tattva of devotion. Therefore, without tattva, lila will become just some speculation upon something. Therefore, that's why people will say that many of these leelas that we know as leelas are simply imaginations, but they're not. They're actual factual accounts of what happens with Krishna in the spiritual world. So it's not something that you can simply surreptitiously dive into. This is a gradual process. Therefore, we have to purify ourselves by hearing and chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and serving the Vaishnavas. And gradually, we can qualify ourselves to hear about this more intimate leelas of Krishna. But many of the great souls don't even indulge in that. They simply want to hear Krishna's pastimes in Kurukshetra, in Dwarka, in Mathura. But there's others. This is a very complex subject matter. But the most important thing is what is our adhikari? Are we qualified to delve into such things? And you can understand your qualifications as soon as you hear about these things, what is happening in your mind, and whether you're getting purified and your love for Krishna is increasing, or you're becoming putrefied and your desire to enjoy the material world is increasing. So it's a process. I would suggest you read Srimad Bhagavatam very carefully, and gradually you will start to qualify yourself. After reading and studying the first 9 cantos, then you may be qualified to take the step into hear and chant the glories of Krishna in Sri Vrindavan Dham. Because Krishna acts simply like, an ordinary person who's being controlled by others. But it's not like that. He's controlled by love, and the realm of Vrindavan is the realm of pure love.
Hope that helped, Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Maharaj.
That was a really nice question. Very, very nice. Always needed, even though we may know the answer, but we need that constant, consistent reminder. Thank you so much for asking that question, Prabhu. Any other questions from devotees? Any thoughts that's coming to your mind? Any clarification? Yes, Srimati, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, when we are reading Bhagavatam, in almost all the time, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning that when we progress in devotional service, then Krishna will reveal himself to the devotees. So how can we know that Krishna is revealed, or at what stage Krishna is revealed, Guru Maharaj?
Well, revelation comes in 2 indications. One, you're becoming free from your material desires and attachments to this material world. 2, you're developing transcendental knowledge. 3, you're finding satisfaction and happiness in devotional service. It's no big mystery. All of these things are indicated by what's happening. Knowledge, transcendental happiness, and detachment are all happening as you make advancement.
But sometimes neophyte devotees also get these experiences, Guru Maharaj. Is that meaning that they also getting slowly, Krishna is revealed to them slowly?
It's just because neophyte devotees at one time may also be in the right consciousness. And so when they hear in the right consciousness, they get some realizations of these things. But because they're still within the attachment, they're still engaged in activities that are fruitive. It's not something that is constant. It may come and go. When the heart is open and the heart is soft, then even if one is even a non-devotee can experience some transcendental happiness if the heart is open and the heart is soft. But these are occasions. It's not some development that they have achieved. For those who are practicing, they come to that stage.
Okay, Guru Maharaj. So I have one more follow-up question. Like, suppose, for example, if we are feeling lazy, or if we are feeling not much enthusiastic in our bhakti or the process which we are doing, is that because like we have our own anarthas, right, Guru Maharaj? I just want to clarify that. We are not, we have having so many anarthas and doing some aparadhas, then only this happens, right, Guru Maharaj?
I don't think it's that clear. You can say, I'm feeling this is happening because I'm feeling lazy, therefore it's because of this. You might just be lazy because the modes of material energy are stronger that day. When the modes are always competing for supremacy, the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, mode of ignorance. So sometimes it's just because of being connected with the modes, you feel a little lazy or lackadaisical or But then, that's counteracted simply by just jumping back into devotional service.
Mm. Yes, Guru Maharaj. Yeah. Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Got it. Okay.
Thank you, Srimati. Thank you so much. Any other questions from devotees that's triggering you to ask and clarify? That's a very deep question, and it's as all of you were asking questions, Maharaj, I was thinking how important it is for us to hear this instruction repeatedly so that we're doing it the right way. Sometimes I feel, Maharaj, that the mind becomes a rascal, and then we try to do self-assessment, thinking that I'm at this level, and then we jump into something wrong, and then we go, oops, no, I'm not, and we slide back again. So it's nice that we hear the repeated instructions to keep us on the right track, because the mind is such a rascal.
You have to hear regularly. That's one of the regulative principles. You have to hear regularly from the spiritual master, from Srila Prabhupada. That's a requirement. Otherwise, the mind will become diluted by the material energy. Mind is full of speculation. The mind is full of imaginations. Mind is just a composite of all kinds of mental trickery.
The mind is yes, Maharaj.
Yeah.
It's a mess. The mind is a mess.
Well,
Mother, yes.
The thing is, wherever you are now is better than where you were a year ago. Where you were a year ago is better than where you were 2 years ago. So you're making progress, there's no doubt, as long as you stay in the process. But sometimes it's slow, and sometimes it's a little bit more quicker. But you can accelerate your process if you associate with devotees and perform kirtan. Associate with devotees, engage in kirtan, and you can accelerate the process of purification. Harinam Sankirtan is the fast track.
Thank you, Maharaj. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Thank you. Yes, Mother Anna. After you, then we'll go to Rajesh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, I have a follow-up question on that. It's just, how do you, because obviously it's hard enough to inspire ourselves to maintain our sadhana, and how can we inspire, I'm talking from a personal point with my brothers, because it's hard. I ask them, I always check in on them, and because I think I'm the oldest, I'm always trying to make sure everyone's doing everything. And my brothers, they'll chant some rounds and then they'll just stop for a period of time, or my brother will chant and then he just won't do it at the weekend. And it's, how do I inspire them to continue without being forceful or pushing them away from it?
I don't know. You know your brothers. You see what about them that you can do or say to inspire, to attract them.
Yeah.
That's all. Like, for instance, you and your husband are doing plays, dramas. So, invite them to come to the plays and take part in one of the acting parts of the plays. Include them into some activity of devotional service. Say, get them involved directly.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Drama is always interesting.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Rajesh Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj, Hare Krishna, dear devotees, my Dandavat pranams. Maharaj, just a quick reflection stroke question. So I also, like, when I'm reading Krishna book, sometimes when I think I'm sort of understanding a principle or a point, and I've got, I think, some taste, or I'm getting really into, enjoying the particular part of a lila. My mind sometimes creatively may speculate, and I'm just trying to wonder, do I have to be careful in terms of thinking about, okay, am I getting something intuitive, or am I getting an understanding which isn't a real understanding, and it's sort of going off at a tangent, and I may be superimposing my own creative idea or inference?
You check on it and ask someone, ask some senior devotee about it. I've been reading it, and this is what come up to my mind. How does this sound right? Do a check. That's all.
Okay.
That's the purpose of association with devotees. We have some questions and some confusion, we can just ask. If you just try to figure it out yourself, you might be just going from one side to another forever. If it becomes clear, then fine. If it's not clear, then just ask.
And Maharaj, in terms of who to ask, is that also where you use a bit of judgment as to thinking, okay, who is a little bit more, or is more qualified, or is sort of has an interest in that particular area?
Yeah,
yeah.
But when you're in the UK, there's so many qualified devotees there.
Yeah.
I just ask. There's always sannyasis coming through. There's senior devotees who live there, been practicing for their whole lives. Choose who you think is qualified, and then ask your question.
Okay.
Why do we try to figure out everything ourselves when the answers are available?
Rascal mind again for me. But yeah, thanks, Maharaj.
Yeah. Mine is a rascal.
Thank you.
Very nice question, Prabhu. Very nice. Thank you so much for asking that. Any other questions from devotees? Mars, there's one question that I would like to piggyback on from what Rajesh Prabhu just asked. And in one of the 6 living exchanges that was, by Srila Rupa Goswami, one of it is to reveal one's mind in confidence and to inquire submissively. And sometimes when we are going through the mind issue, and we want clarification or guidance, that seemed to be a very difficult challenge for devotees, because they feel like when they're revealing their minds, they're opening the world to the other person, and they feel vulnerable, lack of a better word, or they feel like, okay, I'm just opening my life to this person. Is it safe? So how can we really overcome that block, Maharaj?
Well, it's not a block. It's actually a very important part of revealing your mind. One, you have to know that person is qualified to understand and hear what you're about to say. 2, and you have to trust that person will keep the confidence. So therefore, that means that you have to choose carefully who you reveal your mind to. Because sometimes you reveal your mind and then it becomes part of the internet. So we have to carefully choose based on qualification of the person and trustability, the ability, is that person trustworthy?
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you. Yes, that was a very powerful point, because sometimes I run across such situations and then I feel sad, like the help is there, the need is there, but there's this fear, the building trust, it's like, and sometimes I feel helpless and sad, but I can't do anything because they have to build the trust to be able to share and open their hearts. But thank you, Marge, for the wonderful point. Thank you.
I approached one senior devotee one time and I was going to reveal my mind. And then I asked about confidentiality. He said there was no confidentiality. So based on that statement, I didn't say anything. I remained quiet.
Thank you, Marge. That was a nice one. Thank you. Any other questions from devotees? Any thoughts coming to your mind? Any clarification? Please do raise your hand before we end the class. Maharaj, there are no more questions, Maharaj. Would you like to end with a round of chanting, Maharaj? Or would you like to share any announcements before the chanting? It's your call, Maharaj. I felt so bad last time that I did not see that you wanted to make an announcement, and I was like, oh, Krishna Chaitanya. So that's why I want to apologize for that. Jumping in.
The reason why I was so strong is because I didn't want people to leave before the
Yes,
announcement.
absolutely, Maharaj.
Yeah, we can chant.
Okay,
But
Maharaj.
I still have 2 more rounds to go, so this is.
Oh, cool. And again, if devotees can show their video, that would be really nice if it's possible, wherever you're at.
Yeah. Hey, Jai Sri Krishna, Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Rama Hare Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Rama Krishna Hare Rama Krishna Hare Rama Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. 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 Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Shri Krishna, Shri Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasudeva Bhaktivedanta. Anasuya,
Yes, Maharaj.
I want to thank you for taking this extra time and doing these programs on Tuesday. It's really a great pleasure for me to have you there to do this, because I always appreciate how when you're there, the programs go on in a very interesting way. Thank you very much. And
Maharaj, please don't thank me, Maharaj. I'm just trying to do what little service I can for you, Maharaj. I am the one that should be thanking you for always engaging me and getting me out of Maya. Thank you so much.
it is interesting yesterday when at the Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati's program in the temple here, I met this one couple from Harrisburg. They were here. Kind of heavy set lady and husband also. I can't remember what their names were because I don't even know if they even told me. But they told me they were from Harrisburg.
Really? I'm trying to think who they were.
They also had a child with them. Young boy.
Trying to crack my head, Maharaj. I'm trying to think who they are, but I don't remember. Did they say anything bad about me, Maharaj?
Oh yeah, they said so many things.
You see, Maharaj, I cannot. Yeah, I'm sorry, Maharaj.
They said that ever since she came, she turned everything upside down, and now we're all Krishna conscious.
Oh boy, Maharaj, that shows how crazy I am.
She created a revolution, and now we're all forced to become Krishna conscious.
Oh no, Maharaj, it's only by the mercy of my spiritual master and you, Maharaj, that I'm trying to do what little I can for Prabhupada's mission. Thank you so much for engaging me in this service. And if I've committed any offense, Maharaj, please forgive me in my service on the Tuesday morning classes.
Not possible. You can't commit offense.
Oh boy, that's a very tall order, Maharaj. I will definitely try to keep up with that. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
At least that's my understanding.
Oh, okay. I will remember that much. Thank you so much. And I want to thank all the devotees for tolerating me and for allowing me to serve all of you through Candramauli Swami. I feel that this is definitely the Lord's way of having me serve Maharaj and all of you. So thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Maharaj, do you have any announcements, Maharaj, to share before we leave? Anything you want to tell?
You have something for Srimati, if she's there.
Srimati is, there she is.
Yes, Guru Maharaj, please.
I'm going to be traveling on Sunday, And it'll
Okay.
also be the time of my class.
Okay.
So Sunday I won't be available. I'll be doing the classes all the way up until Sunday.
Okay, Guru Maharaj. Sure.
And Monday, I'm not sure what will happen on Monday either. But I'll be back for sure on Tuesday.
Okay, Guru Maharaj. Sure.
But Sunday, no class for sure for me. I can see who is available.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Monday, I'll let you know in due course of time.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right. So thank you very much. Have a nice day. Have a nice afternoon, or have a nice evening.
His Holiness Candramauli Swami ki.
Bye.
Prabhupada ki.
Bye.
Have a wonderful day. Hari Hari Bol. Thank you
Hari
so much, Maharaj.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you, Mataji. It was
Thank
wonderful.
you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Hi, Guru.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.